Morning, Natalia.
Morning.
Morning, everybody.
Morning,
Daria.
Morning, Daria. Everybody all together. Morning, Daria.
Morning, Daria.
Morning, Daria.
Okay, the next person who pops on, we'll all do it like on 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll say that to the next person.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm just going to leave and come back then.
You want some special attention?
Good morning, James.
well, we're going to have the special invitation to everyone now to join the meeting. Welcome everybody to the Rotary Club St. Albert morning Zoom meeting number 1502. It's April 16th, 2021. I'm your host, President Mark Dixon. I recognize executive members present, board members, fellow Rotarians, guests, and guests who might become Rotarians. Please stand for the singing of O Canada. Nicely done. Could hear you. We could hear you from the cheap seats there, Ash. Our land acknowledgements. We respectfully acknowledge that we are on Treaty 6 territory, traditional lands of First Nations and Métis peoples. As treaty people, Indigenous and non-Indigenous, we share the responsibility for the stewardship of this beautiful land. Our inspirational moment this morning is brought to you by our very brand new, whoa, go back, wait, don't, there, by our very brand new Rotarian, Brian Fisher. Brian, if you wouldn't mind, please.
Hi, everyone. I guess for me, this last week or so, the inspirational moment was speaking to the human condition and how people get together and help one another out. As we know, the tragedy of the Dubé family that they experienced recently. And while some of you may be familiar with these types of endeavors, I heard a new one, this meal train that got started for them and their family. And I thought that was a very interesting idea. And through use of social media, there was a sign-up page, and you can get on there and just either send a gift card or have a meal delivered over to these folks' house, just to take one thing off of their plates, one thing to make their day easier. And you know, that it inspired me. I just thought that was an excellent thing to do. And even in these COVID times, finding a way to impact their lives when, you know, people can't get together and grieve. And, you know, I saw it was booked already till late May, which was another exciting thing, I thought. So for me, that was just a little inspiration for the week. And I thought, you know, what a great community that we live in. And yeah, that was my moment this week.
Thank you very much, Brian. Definitely inspirational. Introduction of guests. Daria, how about if we start with you?
Morning, Mark. We have our guest presenter this morning, Dale. And Dale, please help me with your name. Is it Gienow?
Gienow.
Oh, you see, I knew I would butcher that one. Sorry about that.
No problem.
So can you say it again, please?
Gienow with a hard G.
Gienow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. Well, welcome.
Sorry, you wouldn't be the first. Thank you.
Okay.
Dale Gienow, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Do we have any other guests? I'm not seeing any other than Natalia. Well, welcome, Natalia. And that means that two very special people get the welcome song.
Well, the Rotary, glad you are here. Come shake your hands
And say
a
friendly cheer. Whether
Well,
from near or whether from far, we hope that you little song.
Like our little song because we're proud of St. Albert,
and
you will agree. Our love to
rejoice,
some
great
camaraderie. We can help the needs of our community
with
our friends at
Rotary.
with our friends at Rotary.
We're all getting fined.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Just letting you know.
We put it back on mute before.
Thanks, Mark, for that.
Night of the Living Dead. Oh my Lord, that was scary.
What happened?
There were no potential Rotarians on the line, were there?
Oh, it's just the enthusiasm that I enjoy so much.
The sentiment was there. That was great. That's awesome.
So we're going to segue into Dale's presentation. And Daria, if you wouldn't mind doing the introduction.
I will pass it over to Kathy.
Thank you, Daria. And thank you for getting the pronunciation of Dale's last name. We were in a breakout room together, Dale, and we're like, who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? So yeah, so Dale, I have a little bio to read, but Dale, I just wanted to mention that. So Dale, WILDNorth gets a small amount of funding from the city of St. Albert, and I wish it was more, Dale, but it is what it is for now. He did present to one of our committees about a month or so ago because our environmental advisory committee had recommended, instead of WILDNorth applying for grants every year, that they just get permanent funding through a different source. And after his presentation, I thought it was fantastic, and I quickly emailed Daria and said he'd be a great speaker for Rotary for a couple of reasons. I think during COVID, and with lots of us spending a lot of time outside, we are encountering more of the wildlife that lives in our community, and we actually have an abundance here in St. Albert. And I also thought he'd be really a pleasant distraction from a lot of the COVID related presentations and the political ones, the politically correct ones that we're hearing so frequently. So I hope you enjoy listening to Dale this morning. So Dale's been involved in animal advocacy and wildlife management with organizations across Canada for more than 30 years. So he looks like he's only about 40, so he was
I wish.
He previously founded and directed Ontario's largest wildlife rescue and is generally considered the foremost expert in the recovery of injured wild animals in the country. His work to educate people on how to live in harmony with our wild neighbors is well established. He routinely lectures at post-secondary institutions, trains government wildlife officials, and acts as an advisor for wildlife documentary films aired on National Geographic, Animal Planet, and the Discovery Channel. Dale joined WILDNorth, Alberta's largest wildlife rehabilitation organization, in 2017 and serves as executive director. And Dale, make sure you tell the story about the coyote urine, because that one stuck with me.
That's so funny.
Take it away.
All right. Well, listen, thanks, everyone. I sure appreciate the opportunity to share what we're all about with everyone there in St. Albert. We have been servicing the community there for 30 years as of last year, so for a very long time. And people are still learning about us and learning about what it is that we do. So I'd like to start, if I can, Mark, maybe you can help me with this. I'd like to start with a little introductory video. It's just a 4-minute video to give sort of a good snapshot of what it is we do. And then from there, we'll move forward, if that's all right.
Absolutely. You have permission to share, so go right ahead.
Perfect. There we are. Let's see if we can get this working here. Let's try. There we go. There's a short break. Everybody see that video okay up there?
Lovely.
Okay, so I'm just going to hit play here and
we can't hear the audio.
oh. Okay, give me a second here.
It might be because you're speaking through your headset.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay, let's try that again.
Perfect.
Yeah, how about hands up? Hands up, and then you can tell me when you might take care of.
Okay, so let's get the nice and quick, we'll hide him so he can't get back to the pond. That's the important thing. Okay, got him.
This is a little bit worse than
right, well, I hope everyone enjoyed that, that little video. Everybody can still hear me okay, Mark? It's all good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for those of you that may not be familiar with WILDNorth, that short video gives sort of a snapshot of what we're about, but I'll elaborate a little bit. So WILDNorth is one of 8 wildlife rehabilitation centers in the province of Alberta. We're the largest and the most northerly. And our mandate is to take in injured and orphaned wildlife and do our best to rehabilitate them back into the wild where they belong. We also spend a lot of time educating the community about the importance of wildlife. So in that we are the largest of this type of facility in the province, we take in a little more than 3,000 animals each and every year. The type of animals we receive with about 250 species. So pretty much every wild animal you can think of that's allowed to be rehabilitated in the province. There are a handful of animals for various reasons that the Environment Parks does not allow us to rehabilitate. That would include the adult members of the large carnivores, for example, like we can't do adult grizzly bears and mountain lions and things like that, although we can deal with baby bears and those types of things. We travel around to a lot of schools. Our educational programming deliver to about 9,000 participants each year. So that keeps us very, very busy. And the other component to our operations, we have the 3 main pillars. We have the wild care, we call it. So that's the physically looking after animals. Our wild education, our educational programs, which includes children and adult programming, and help with an effort to help people learn how to live in harmony with our wild neighbors. And the last pillar is our wild rescue program. So up until 2017, like every other rehabilitation center across the province and most of them across the country, we depended on the public to bring us in imperiled creatures that needed help. However, sometimes there were animals that the public couldn't bring in, and maybe they didn't have the resources. So as an example, let's assume for a moment there was a goose with an injured wing out on a stormwater facility. Well, those animals would be very difficult to recover. So we need permission from the appropriate people. We'd have boats and other resources, capture equipment to go get that animal and bring it into our animal hospital here in Edmonton. So those animals ordinarily would not get the help they needed, but our rescue program now responds to over 800 rescue requests every year. So we will travel out to rescue some of those more difficult creatures. So just to give you an example, just yesterday, I managed the rescue program here. So yesterday, I rescued a great gray owl out of a backyard that was injured in South Edmonton. And in the afternoon, I had a porcupine under my arm, and I was climbing down from about 4 stories up in a black spruce tree with an injured porcupine. So the nature of those sort of rescues and why we get the animals in are extremely varied, but what we do know is that 90% or almost 95% actually of our intakes are a result of human activity. So, we're talking about animals that strike windows or get hit by cars or are somehow impacted by people. So we have the 2 facilities. We have our hospital and triage center right in Edmonton. So that's where the animals generally start out. We have we're one of 3 facilities in the province that have our own radiology. So we have X-ray equipment there, surgery suites. We have on staff veterinarians and local veterinarians that volunteer their time to help us as well. And then we have our wildlife rehabilitation center out in Parkland County near Spruce Grove. And that's where the animals are moved from our hospital to that acreage where we have larger pens where the animals can recover properly before it's time for them to be released. So as our northernmost counterpart to all these rehab centers, we do service a lot of communities up here, including the city of St. Albert. We've been working with you guys for the better part of 30 years now, so for a very long time. And we're also the only organization that deals with the very far northern communities. So we get a lot of animals up from Fort McMurray, Cold Lake, Grand Prairie, and we've developed some very small sort of satellite operations up there where we have trained rescuers. We also, in the city of Edmonton, we train all of their park rangers and animal care and control officers. They operate underneath our permits when it comes to recovering wildlife. We just recently worked out a deal with the city of St. Albert. As was mentioned, the city was very kind to offer us some money to help our continued operations in the city. We are a charity, so we do depend on grants and charitable contributions from people and corporations. And along with not only giving us some funding, but they're also working with us. We'll be actually hosting this Tuesday. So we're talking about this coming up soon. We're going to be hosting a bunch of people from the City Works Department. They'll be operating underneath our permits when it comes to the recovery of migratory birds. So we're talking about things like ducklings that are falling into catch basins in the sewer system. Geese that are nesting right now. Sometimes we have to deal with rooftop babies, these kinds of things. Technically, you need permits from the Canadian Wildlife Service and Environment and Parks to conduct those activities. And that's unbeknownst to a lot of the municipalities in the province. So we're trying to work with St. Albert and others to ensure that they get the legal protection they need and the proper training to look after the animals and to keep people safe. So in a nutshell, that's what we do. And we're very pleased to be working with the St. Albert community. And we're very pleased to be able to share all that information with you here today. So I'd like to make a little bit of time available for those of you that may have some questions about what it is that we do.
Thank you very much, Dale. Gienow, questions for Dale?
No.
Jerry?
Hey, Dale. It's Jerry here. I used to volunteer there a few years ago with Kim and the crew. And I know that you've really made some improvements over the years. I'm just kind of disappointed you didn't show pictures of cleaning out goose poop and the cages and the laundry room. But I really enjoyed my time there and raising mealy worms and all the rest of it. And I used to transport injured animals too. So that very, very rewarding. So I really like the way that you're headed this way. So thank you for your presentation. It was great.
Well, listen, thanks for helping out. We really are a volunteer-based organization, and we have about 240 volunteers that we lean on. We only have 11 full-time staff in the organization, so we really do depend on volunteers like yourself to do what we need to do to help all the creatures. So thanks, appreciate it.
Do you get any money from the province?
We don't get any static funding from them. We do, of course, periodically apply for grants through the province. Some of those grants were suspended during COVID, and COVID has been a very interesting time for us because, as Mark alluded to at the beginning, a lot more people are out and about, and which has really increased the number of animals that people are coming across and they're finding that need help. So just to put that in perspective, up until 2019, 2019 was our busiest year on our wildlife hotline. And that's a call center that sort of, addresses wildlife-related issues. At that point, we had received 8,500 calls. That was our busiest year, 2019. In 2020, we received 13,000 calls. So we were actually up 63% from our busiest year because of COVID. That also resulted in a lot more patients that came in as well. So yeah, absolutely, really just a crazy year for us, and all the more reason we need all those volunteers to help us do what we do.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm dying, Dale. I need to hear the coyote urine story.
There was a question when we were speaking in council about how to deter animals. There are a number of animals that can be a bit of a bane to us. Like we have things like our hares that get into our gardens, animals like that. And the question was posed is how do we deter those kind of animals from coming around? And it sounds a little gross, but one of the most effective ways to do that is to convince them that there are predators around, that take advantage of them and keep them at bay. So you can purchase this sort of synthetically produced coyote urine. It's used by hunters. You can get it at like Canadian Tire or at the Bella store. You put it in a spray bottle and you can spray it in a perimeter around your garden, and that'll keep the hares away. They'll smell that coyote, take one whiff, and you can also use it for spraying under your deck to get skunks to leave from under your deck, and a number of other applications. So it sounds kind of gross, but it works quite well. Yeah, it's pretty effective.
Nature, gotta love it.
Yeah, we get some pretty interesting questions on our hotline. Well,
do the people that collect that get extra pay?
Right. Unfortunately not. You know, that's the nature of a charity. You know, we all wear lots of hats around here. We do what we need to do.
Coyote milking this week.
Yeah, right.
Are you volunteering, Doug?
Other questions for Dale? Kevin, you have a question.
Good morning, Dale. Thanks for your talk. It's pretty interesting. Hey, looking for what your recommendation would be. About a month ago, I was walking in River Lot 56, and it was an extremely windy day. And I came across a moose who was like right beside me on the trail. And it was a young bull, and I froze. I was looking at him and he was looking at me, and I just backed up slowly. He stepped out of the woods onto the trail, and we were like staring each other down. And then he made a couple of the bluff charges towards me. I just turned around and hightailed it down the path. He started to run, but he stopped. Now, I know I can't outrun a moose, but what would your recommendation be in a situation like that? It was very windy, and we both obviously startled each other.
Yeah, that's a scary situation. What time of year was it?
Like about a month ago. And there was no one on the trail because it was so windy. It was kind of a miserable day. There was still snow on the ground. And for a minute, I thought about running into the woods, into the snow, and I don't know, getting behind a tree or something. But luckily he stopped. He gave up.
Encounters with wildlife like that can be harrowing. And, you know, in St. Albert, you have so much green space. You have so many great opportunities to see wildlife, but with those opportunities also come potential conflicts, right? So with moose, generally speaking, the only time that you're in real danger when it comes with moose is in the springtime when it's a cow moose with her young, or it's in the fall time when it's a bull moose or a male moose during that breeding season where they can be very aggressive. Now, that said, you know, startling any wild animal will sometimes put them into a situation where they feel the need to defend themselves. This is what you were seeing there. So you're seeing a moose who is not trying to attack you or come after you, like a bull moose in the fall, for example, might come after you because he literally wants to spar with you, or a cow moose is protecting her young. In this case, you know, the moose is giving you signals to back off. It's looking at you as maybe a potential predator. It's not looking for a fight, but it doesn't want you near it, right? So that's that bluff charge, as you saw. So probably you weren't at significant risk at this time of the year with a young male moose. But that said, it can be extremely harrowing. So as a general rule, with most animals, so we're talking about larger ungulates or hoofed animals or larger carnivores, you want to make yourself as big as you can. You actually want to avoid running if you can, because especially when we're talking about carnivore species, but even sometimes like a bull moose in the rut season in the fall will give chase because they'll perceive you as something fleeing. They'll say, aha, I can chase that animal out of my territory, right? And so they'll come towards you, or the prey response kicks in if it's a large carnivore species. So stand up big and tall, make noise, you know, back off slowly, and normally that's your best course of action. And again, you have to be extremely cognizant if you're dealing with a bull moose in the fall or a cow moose.
So Dale, that story about urinating and making a wallow pit for yourself, that probably wouldn't work then.
Probably not a good idea. Yeah.
You could try that, Kevin, though. I heard that works too. So you could
next time
urinate in a wallow pit and put it all over you, then the moose will run away too. I've heard that works.
And you guys you get a lot of moose in St. Albert. We get quite a few encounters in St. Albert. They're wandering right into the city limits. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't the first time I've seen them. That's for sure. Yeah. And they just one more. I think I know where you let that beaver go. It looked very familiar. I live on Barrymore on the Sturgeon, and the beaver is still out there, and he is massive. Our trees in the area aren't doing so well, though.
Well, and you know, that's the thing. When it comes to guys like that, we have to work with the city. You know, we talked to pest management, and so that beaver was caught in kind of a basin. We actually had the fire department, it was underwater divers, have to help us get down and free that guy up. We took him in, gave him a health check, did some things we needed to do, and then we returned him. But before we returned him, we always work with the city, right? So we check with pest management and say, listen, do you want us to return him where we found him, or is he causing, a real problem, and we need to find a more suitable location for him? And they told us to put him back where we found him, so we did. We as a rule, especially with adult animals, we try to put them back where we found them. And we always like to think a well-trained animal is a good animal to have around. In other words, if you can get animals used to you and kind of doing what you want them to do, they're better to leave them there, because if you remove them, somebody else is just going to move in and take over that territory and behave in a way that you don't want. So like if we kind of look at this in a way like we look at wolves in Alberta with ranchers, right? Wolves that are stealing livestock. If you can get a couple of big dogs and you can convince those wolves not to steal your livestock, they're better to keep around because they'll keep the other wolves at bay that might actually come in and steal the livestock, right? So there's sort of management. So in this case, they decided that they wanted to keep the beaver, and so yeah, that's really cool that you're still seeing him. That's awesome. Glad to know he's doing well. Nice.
Laura has a question.
Yeah, sorry for the lack of face. My hair is fully in rollers and no one needs to see that. I was wondering if you have a favorite rescue and rehab story. Just my childhood curiosity is loving this.
Well, so Laura, I've been doing this for a very long time. And while I was in Ontario, I did a lot of really interesting things. So Ontario has a huge problem with exotic pets. So Ontario is the only province in the country that the keeping of exotic animals as pets is not regulated provincially. So what that means is that if you lived in a large township or municipality like Toronto, you wouldn't be allowed to keep a lion in your home. But if you lived in a smaller municipality that didn't have city bylaws prohibiting that practice, you could. So in Ontario, they had a crazy, so I took, so I did all contract work for the Ministry of Natural Resources in Ontario, and it was my job to do all the very dangerous animal removals, exotic animal removals. So I took, a mountain lion out of a biker clubhouse they were using as a guard cap for the drug industry. I took a hyena out of downtown Toronto, venomous snakes, alligators in a bathtubs.
Oh my God!
These kinds of crazy creatures, that people had in their homes. I'll tell you a very brief story about that mountain lion I just mentioned. So I was called by the Toronto Metro Police to come down to a biker clubhouse where they had just done arrested a bunch of people on drug charges. And in this warehouse was a full-grown 140-pound mountain lion that was chained up and used as a guard cat in this warehouse. And they also had a 23-foot long Burmese python, a big snake. And so the police asked if we would confiscate these animals. We hold them in our facility in Ontario there until the court proceedings would go through. And inevitably, people would not get these animals back. And it was up to us to donate them and place them in incredible licensed zoo homes where, people have the resources to look after them properly and get accredited zoos. So this mountain lion that was confiscated, her name was Amber. And Amber was very badly abused. In an effort to get her aggressive, she had cigarette burns on her body and what have you. So this animal hated people. And at the time, I had a great big beard, and apparently so did the fellow that was abusing this cat. So I had to take off the beard because it was, very aggressive towards me. And the police agreed if we could bring this guy around and donate him to a credible zoo, that they'd give us that opportunity. But the zoos wouldn't touch her because she was so aggressive. She just wanted to kill everybody, this mountain lion. So I spent the better part of 2 years with Amber, trying to bring her around and socialize her to the point where a zoo would accept her and bring her in. So during that time, I developed a pretty good relationship with this cat, so much so that when my wife would come by, the cat would get jealous and hiss and swat at my wife when she would come by. And it sounds funny, but one time I was in her enclosure cleaning up after her, and she leaped across her enclosure 15 feet, grabbed me by the scruff of the neck, and hauled me to the ground. And I guess the mating rituals of a cougar can be pretty intense sometimes. She thought I might make a pretty good boyfriend for her. Well, I don't have a scuff back there. And so I got 7 stitches, in the back of the neck. And again, it wasn't malicious. She just, thought that was the right thing to do, thought that maybe I was a male mountain lion. So I let out a terrible yell. I took off one way, she took off the other way. I didn't know who was more frightened. But eventually we were able to place that cat at a big cat zoo where she was paired up with another mountain lion who probably appreciated her advances much more than I did. As for that big snake that was confiscated out of the same thing, this great big snake, its name was Julius Squeezer. And this was this massive python. And the python had the girth of a soccer ball. So it was that big around, weighed 220 pounds, 23 feet long. And about 2 weeks after receiving this big reptile, there was an unfortunate incident down the road from our wildlife center. There was a deer that was hit and killed on the road, about 90 pounds, a small deer. And the Ministry of Natural Resources would pick up these roadkill and bring them to our facility as natural food for our wolves and mountain lions and other animals that we were housing. Well, we took this 90-pound small deer and we fed it to the big snake, and the snake swallowed the whole deer whole. It took him 3 hours to get it down, about 3 weeks to digest, but 3 months before it ate again. And the scary thing is, according to the police, the biker, the man who owned this big snake, was bathing it in the bathtub with his 3-year-old little girl. So if you think about that, you're able to swallow a 90-pound deer, and snakes don't really have the power of recognition the way other animals do. So generally when they're hungry, you know, they're going to eat something small and perhaps move. So pretty scary, the kind of things that become. So that's just one of the many stories. For some of you that may have young people in your lives, I've done a lot of television work for educational programs. I don't know if anybody here is familiar, again, if you have young people, maybe you have kids or nieces or nephews might be familiar with a great show called Sabumafu. It was a children's television series, the largest of its kind in Canada. So I trained all the animals for that film production. So I brought in 700 animals from around the world to do this great educational television show for children. So done a lot of interesting work over the years. And with WILDNorth here in Alberta, you know, we don't have the pet problems, but, you know, we're still doing some crazy rescues here. You know, again, you know, I'm up in trees. We're chasing down bear cubs and rescuing downed eagles and, you know, all kinds of things. Don't have the venomous snakes and things here, but still pretty harrowing circumstances sometimes in these difficult rescue scenarios.
Julius Squeezer. Jennifer, you have a question.
Good morning, Dale. Thank you so much for coming today. I live in Lacombe Park Lakes area, and I think in all of St. Albert, we're hearing the coyotes are really, they're growing in numbers. And I don't know if that's because we're infringing on their natural habitat and they have nowhere else to go, or they're moving into the city or whatever, but the numbers seem to be growing. I have a very small dog and we back onto the path, so we couldn't let her out. I know, first world problem, but you know, we really worry about a coyote jumping the fence and taking off with our dog. Is part of your mandate to advise cities on how to mitigate problems and to help, you know, the coyotes live harmoniously and the people live harmoniously, and you know, or do we try and move them out of the city area? Like, what do we do? Because I think it's getting worse each year. Or...
Jen, get Amber's pee and spray it around your yard. That'll scare anything away.
Those are great questions, and you're absolutely right. Coyotes, you know, they're one of the few creatures that actually do better in an urban environment. They thrive. I mean, you know, it was a time not that long ago where we didn't have coyotes in areas we have now. We have coyotes way up Northwest Territories, into Alaska, places historically where they never have been, and it's because we have urban centers, and these animals thrive really well in our urban centers. They eat our garbage. You know, they prey on feral house cats. You know, they do very well here, and they seem to become quite brazen. That said, there is a little risk to people. Coyote attacks on people are extremely rare. There are a few documented cases in Canada historically, but very few. So your chances of you know, getting attacked and being injured by a falling vending machine is better than being attacked by a coyote. So that's rare. That said, when it comes to pets, you know, small cats and small dogs, they do pose a significant threat. So what I will say is that coyotes are here and they're here to stay. So what we do want to do, sort of going back to what I was talking a little bit earlier, we really want to educate those coyotes about what their proper behavior is when in and around people and our pets. And again, educating those coyotes and the other coyotes who come in those areas predating on our pets. So there's a great organization that you can actually look into called Coyote Watch Canada. And Coyote Watch is an organization that really addresses a lot of these sort of urban coyote issues. And they actually right now, in conjunction with the University of Alberta, they have they're doing some sort of trial run, some experiments with coyotes and people. And what they've done is they've armed people with tennis balls with flagging that kind of comes out of them. And they're encouraging people when the coyotes come near to deter them by throwing these tennis balls and make lots of motion and movement towards these coyotes, kind of frighten them, to let them know that it's not appropriate to be around people, that it's okay to be in the green space, but not near people and our pets. So there are some initiatives that are out there that are trying to train these urban coyotes that appropriate behavior. In the interim, the important thing is definitely if you're in an area with lots of green space like St. Albert and lots of coyotes, we do need to keep an eye on our pets. And that means that, you know, taking our small dogs out on a leash, you know, or going out with them when you let them out, even in your enclosed backyard. You're absolutely right. Coyotes are very dexterous animals. They're able to leap over a 6-foot fence and get into your backyard with your small dog. So as long as you're in reasonably close proximity, you really mitigate the chances of that attack happening. Has it happened before with people close? Yes. Is it likely? No. The chances of that coyote coming near your dog when you're standing nearby is very slim. So that would go the same with your cat. If you have a cat, you know, letting your cat outside can be an issue. I know in Edmonton, we have an estimated 63,000 feral cats in the city of Edmonton. And that's not including the cats that are pets that people are just, you know, letting out. So when you're letting your cat out, although you think you're giving him lots of freedom, you are putting him in significant risk, you know, when you're in an area that has coyotes, great horned owls, or other predators in these areas that have big green spaces. So those are all great questions. I would encourage you to check out Coyote Watch for some more information, Coyote Watch Canada for more information on what you can do to help educate your local coyotes and make it, you know, better so that you can live in harmony. Because they're here to stay. And again, if they're trapped and removed, you're just gonna have more coyotes come in, and you're gonna have the problem. We've got lots of hares now in the city, feral cats, all kinds of prey sources for them. So with coyotes, generally there's something we call a predator shadow. And this means that areas where prey can get into that predators won't come into, so prey will flourish. Well, in the case of coyotes, they're very smart and adaptable, so they come in anyway, and we're just going to see them. That's just a fact. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Dale. I think we have a question from Liam, and Liam is a guest who joined us partway into our meeting. So welcome, Liam.
Welcome, thank you. Yes, I got invited by Jody. So we were talking yesterday and I said, hey, it'd be great to join you folks. I was gonna say, Dale, I understand the stuff with the python. We used to have a wonderful python in the biology department at Carleton University. Her name was Lady Macbeth. Yeah, she was wonderful. She used to crawl over my shoulder. Yeah, she was cool. I was going to ask, what's the rarest animal you've seen in Alberta that you wouldn't have expected to find? You know, because we do have ones that are almost extinct. You know, have you come across something like that?
Yeah, we do with a number of endangered species that we get in every year. Again, with 3,000 animals coming in every year now, you know, we're apt to get some of those creatures. Endangered species that come in, there's a reporting requirement that we work with environment parks. We report them, we rehabilitate them, and they work with us as a function to make sure that these animals are returned in areas that will help their species because they're endangered. So, but we get a lot of endangered species brought in. Probably the rarest sighting that we've had an animal that come in is not technically an endangered species. They're technically vulnerable in the province. And there's only been one sighting, to my knowledge, or one case, to my knowledge, in the history of the Edmonton area and St. Albert area. Is a couple of years ago, we got some video footage of a wolverine in the northern part of Edmonton. And wolverines, though they have a home range of 1,500 square kilometers, they're typically an animal we don't find, certainly around cities, and certainly in this area. They're more mountainous areas here in Alberta and as we go up north. So for those of you that may not be familiar with the wolverine, they're the largest member of the weasel family. They look a little bit like a miniature bear, and these guys are notorious for their ferocity. So 50-pound wolverines will back down grizzly bears over food. So it's certainly an animal you don't want to tangle with. So I have to say, of all the creatures in this general area, probably the rarest sighting or animal that we had come across. It's a wolverine, and we got some great video footage of him that somebody took. We didn't believe them at first. They said we saw a wolverine, and when people report an animal, you sometimes take it with a grain of salt, right? And sometimes we thought maybe it was a fisher or a marten or something like that, but no, sure enough, it was a wolverine, northern.
Nice, great question. Jerry, for the final question, please.
Thank you. Dale, I'm not sure if it's an Alberta urban myth or if it's true, but I've heard there's been sightings of raccoons in Alberta. Can you speak to that?
Yes, the rascally raccoon. So where I hail from in Toronto, they have 600,000 raccoons in Greater Toronto. That's the largest population density in the world, and it's a multi-million-dollar effort for the city there just to contain garbages and to keep these crafty little creatures from getting into garbage bins and things. So it's a real issue there out east. Yes, in Alberta, we do have raccoons, and we get increasingly so. We get reports of them, and we've had last couple of years some raccoons brought into our facility. So they are here. The Environment and Parks, Fish and Wildlife do not want raccoons in the province for a number of reasons, for disease vector reasons, and also because of their ability to, again, like the coyote, thrive in urban environments, and we're going to get a lot more of them if they continue to come. They're one of those few species that we're not allowed to rehabilitate because the province does not want raccoons to come in. But they do. Last year, we got our first group of babies that came in, and previous to that, we had a couple of adults come in. And we had one last spring that hitched a ride up from Calgary, that actually hopped onto a delivery truck and made its way from Calgary. So we do have them here. They're quite rare still, but we're seeing them increasingly more often. And including we had a report last year in St. Albert, so we've got a picture. So they are there certainly, and a couple of them. So right now we're getting probably 3 or 4 sightings of raccoons in the greater Edmonton area a year. So
when they come in, do you euthanize them, or what do you do?
Yeah, legally we have to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's clearly our mandate is to provide compassionate care for injured and abandoned wildlife, but we do have to follow the rules and regulations and our permits that are set out for us by the province. So in this case, then yes, they have to be euthanized because they don't want that same kind of population exploded. They are a rabies vector animal. They also carry they have potentially a parasite that there have been some fatalities attributed to children from their feces that they come across with playing in a sandbox or whatever. And so there's a number of reasons why the province has made that decision, and we really are at the mercy of our permit holders when it comes to that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. And final question from the chats. Do you have operations in Calgary, and how would somebody volunteer?
Yeah, so it's interesting you say that. So I did mention at the beginning of the presentation, there are 8 wildlife rehabilitation centers across the province. We are the most northerly. North of Red Deer, there's only 2 of us. There's ourselves, and there's the Raptor Center in Strathcona. So there's one that just deals with birds of prey. They take in about 200 birds of prey every year. We take in about 200 birds of prey also, but we also deal with all other allowable species. In Calgary, there is the Calgary Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. They are sort of our southern counterparts. They're quite a large place. There's also another one that's just north of the city of Calgary called AWIC, the Alberta Institute for Wildlife Conservation. So that one, together with the Wildlife Rehabilitation Society of Calgary, are the 2 that are in your area. And like ourselves, are chiefly volunteer-run organizations. So if you're there and you want to help wildlife, I would encourage you to contact one of those 2 organizations to see if you can help.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Dale. And thank you so much for your presentation this morning. I dare to say it was wild. And as a thank you for your presentation at our meeting today, we will be making a donation in your name to the Rotary International Polio Plus program, a worldwide program focused on polio eradication. And we will send you this certificate after the meeting, along with a link to this meeting, if you'd like to share it with others. So thank you again. Please, everyone, thank Dale for his great presentation.
Yeah, thanks everyone for having me, and really appreciate your interest in wildlife. And again, if any of you are ever interested in getting involved or just learning more, you can check out our website. We're at wildnorth.ca.
Perfect. Thank you, Dale.
Thanks, Mark, and everyone. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dale.
Thanks, Dale. Say hi to Kim and Jade.
I sure will. Yeah, thanks. You guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Some quick reports and announcements. The music festival is wrapping up today. Ian, would you like to say anything to this?
I would love to say a few things to that. Absolutely. The Music Fest has been a great event. There's been a couple of challenges that we didn't quite plan for, but I feel like we've found our way through them well. And the feedback that we've gotten so far has been great from both the performers as well as the adjudicators. And it's been quite good. So a big applause to Mark and the operations team, because without Mark and his leadership on that side and all of the volunteers and the people involved, this event just simply wouldn't happen. So thank you, Mark and the team. It's been great. So more to come. We'll do a bit of a blurb when we're completely done and the world is good, but that's kind of where we're at right now. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ian. District 5370 Leadership Assembly is happening tomorrow, and I believe members of the incoming board are signed up for this, and it's going to be a very interesting session with the Rotary International presidents presenting. Our club assembly is April 22nd, which is next Thursday at 7 p.m. That being said, we have no morning meeting the following day. The club shirts. Sandra, would you like to speak to this?
Yes, so I got notice that they're here. I'm going to go pick them up in about an hour or so, and then I will email everyone that ordered them with their price and pickup arrangements.
Thank you very much. And thank you for coordinating that, Sandra.
No problem. Thank you.
Lawn signs and window decals. Ed, would you like to speak to this one?
Cool. Yes, sorry about that. Yeah, real quick. So, you know, the program ongoing, we've managed, I haven't had a chance to catch up with Jason. I was away for a couple of days in Canmore, so I can't give you a combined total, but yeah, they're moving along. And just to repeat or remind everybody, the plan or the idea is here, we $20 gets you a lawn sign. It's not a huge sign, so don't feel like it's going to be, you know, like we're in a political, you know, election going on here. So it's not too imposing and too distracting, but get you $20, gets you the sign and a sticker for your home or for a vehicle. You know, we're going to make arrangements to have it delivered, e-transfers, of course, if possible. And yeah, so we're making progress. I would highly encourage you to reach out and let me know, or Jason. He has stock as well. So we, again, and depending on deliveries can be arranged, but it might take some time to get that scheduled. So it's all good, and we're proceeding.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ed. Other announcements? Laszlo, you have your hand up.
Yeah, real quick. Robert ordered a whole bunch of extra flag poles and such. We're going to be doing a fixing bee, painting bees. So we're probably going to do the same thing we did last year, which he'll drop stuff off at people's homes to do painting and fixing. And also, if you have any flags at your home, we need to know what our stock actually is. So just pay attention to your emails. If you get an email for flags, please reply for it.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Laszlo. And Audrey put a comment in the chat about the Safe Car Rally. June 5th, $50 a car. And our club will be partnering with the Rotaract Club and the Interact Club to put together a station in the car rally. So it's part of that is a surprise, but just so you know. Any other announcements? Very good. Hearing none, our next morning meeting is April 30th. So Heather Keem, who's the team lead of Tamarack Institute, will be presenting on how service clubs can deepen community. A foundation moment, if you're curious about, hey, if I donate $100 to the Rotary Foundation, What does that do? Well, it can help provide textbooks for one elementary school in Zambia. It can provide a hearing aid for a deaf child in Pakistan. It can buy deworming tablets for 112 children in the Philippines. It can pay for cataract operations for 3 blind people in India, or it can provide 230 blankets for the elderly in the winter months of Korea. So think about that. It makes quite an impact. The International Rotary Virtual Convention is June 12th to 16th. Everybody is virtually invited, so put it on your calendar. Birthdays and anniversaries with Natalia.
Okay, so we have Crystal Crossman on April 27th. April 29th, we have Kevin Underhill. And spouse's birthday, we have Vince McKensky. April 17th, April 19th, we have Judy McGinn. And we have anniversaries. So we have Andre Giroux. April 17th, Anthony Potter, 50 years, April 24th. And we have Spanky McGinn, 48 years on April 26th. And we have dates joined Rotary. We have David Dooley, 6 years on April 17th. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Natalia. Le Sergeant at Arms, Carla Morin with Natalia.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, hello. How's everyone today?
Yes.
Mark, you feeling good that Music Fest's almost over? Gonna get your life back?
Yeah, I'll get my life back. It's been a crazy week, not gonna lie, but no, all good. The kids, like, some amazing performances, just awesome. Really cool. So we're putting the encore video together tomorrow, and then so that'll be released on the 29th. So it'll be really cool. You should check it out. There's some amazing little kids that do some really fun things. So cool. Check it out.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the work you do and everyone else involved as well.
Thank you.
Let's start with your game.
Sure.
We missed that
Scavenger
game.
hunt 50-50. Who's in? All right. I already have a list. I know who's in. Okay, Natalia, I need 2 numbers between 1 and 12.
13.
13. All right.
13 is not between 1 and 12.
That's true.
Oh, wait, 11. I'm sorry. 11.
She was testing you.
Yeah, I'm tired.
And she got you, dude.
She did.
Well done,
I was going to go. Anyways, what was that now?
11.
All right. Anita, that's you. And then another number?
44.
44.
I don't think so, John. Okay, let's go to 9.
9. All right, that's Jackie. Is Jackie there? No, doesn't look like it. Another number there, Natalia?
Okay, let's go with 7.
7. Doug Campbell. All right. So again, the drill, scavenger hunt 50-50, you have to find an item that I randomly come up with. So in honor of our guest today, it's coyote urine. Just joking. It is anything animal theme. Go.
Vince,
you got to leave your chair.
Do we have anything animal themed?
Come on, Doug, do you have anything?
Yeah. He's showing a duck.
You got a duck? Where are you? Oh, there you go. Oh, then someone has a dog. Douglas, there you go. Anita, did you get anything?
No.
No. Did you leave your chair?
I don't even have any California thing that would say there's an animal here.
There you go. Well, Doug, you got it. So I think you're splitting what is it here? $50. You get $25.
That's sort of.
All right, Doug, there you go. $25 to you. That is scavenger hunt 50-50. Super easy.
I'm in a basement.
You,
I can find anything in a basement.
It seems like it.
Did they ever let you out of that basement, Doug?
Only when I'm good, John.
So that's a no. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I've got a few fines to hand out here, so I'm going to do that before we jump into the happy bucks. First off, I've got Mark. Do I have screen sharing ability here?
You absolutely do.
Okay, so I'm gonna fine Jimmy the Greek for being on his phone during the presentation. So we got you there, bud. I'm also going to fine Kathy for texting Ian during the meeting. Has he responded?
Nope.
Ian, you do not get a fine because you did not respond to her. So
well,
good for you for having willpower, buddy.
I was about to say, I hope you don't find me because A, I don't even have my phone with me. So I can't even tell that she sent me a text, nor did I reply. So
Ian, I think you should double fine me because I was responding to that text you sent me probably a week ago.
that was a week. You're just replying to that now? Wow, Kathy, I love you and I appreciate your attention to detail. That's a $5 fine. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm also going to fine our buddy Spanky McGinn for being on the phone during Rotary. We got that one there. Yeah, it's shared. You can't see it. And then what else do we have here? Oh, for being sparkly. Wally, I don't know really what the hell you were doing there, but for some reason, the light of God is upon you, buddy. And for basking in the glow of whatever that was, I guess that Andre was sitting next to him because it's reflecting off Andre's head. So I'm not really sure. Yeah.
That's my halo.
It's your halo. It's a little crooked. I am going to say, though, it is beautiful out. It is sunny and warm. It's going to be a gorgeous weekend, completely perfect convertible weather. So anybody who owns a convertible, I'm hitting you too. So starting with Kathy, that's 3 fines for her today. And Kim Doring-Lindgren, I hear that I get to fine you now as well. Who else has a convertible? Come on, I know there's someone. Kevin, don't you have a convertible?
Oh, Lynn.
Lynn?
Yeah.
All right, Lynn, we got you too.
I bet you Ed Heisman has one. No.
Okay, wow, we need more people with convertibles then. Get out there, get shopping. But yeah, Kim, I know you've got one, so I'm hitting you on this one. Your husband is very proud of it and sent me a picture. All right, and with that, that's all I have for fines. So we'll open it up to fines from the floor and happy bucks.
I'll do
I have
happy
a fine
bucks.
I have a fine from the floor. I have a fine from California, and it's for John Carl. John, are you having a bad hair day? How come you got your hat on?
I'm having a bad hair day.
Whatever my boys came to the table wearing a hat, I knew they were having a bad hair day, so that's why I'm asking you. And I think you deserve a fine for that.
Fair enough. I'll pay that.
Okay.
I have a happy buck and fine for the floor. Happy buck is my wife is not quite there yet, but my wife has decided to stick with me for 28 years, effective tomorrow. So that's happy buck.
Wow. Fantastic.
Fine for the floor, just when Anita basically talking about the fact that she's calling from California. Rude.
That is not fair.
Well, at least you're not wearing a hat.
I don't know if you can see John, but Lori has her hand up.
Laura, what do you got for us, my dear?
I have a happy buck because by the time we meet next, I will officially be done my first degree.
Woo, woo.
That's awesome.
Oh, congratulations, Laura.
Kim, you see your hand up?
Well, my happy buck is to thank Kathy's dad, Joe, for teaching me how to drive a standard because our new car is a standard. So if you see me stalled at a stoplight, be patient and kind.
He told me that you need a little bit more practice.
Yeah. I know. He's like, you're good. You're good to go. Just go practice. Yeah. So watch out, town.
That's awesome. Any other happy bucks?
Otra Kim has a question.
Oh, Otra Kim.
Yeah, I have a happy buck because finally healthcare professionals can get vaccinated. So Peter and I both got vaccinated on Tuesday. We're super ecstatic, and the majority of our staff will be vaccinated in the next week. So we feel a lot better going into work now. So very excited.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, anyone else? Kim, you
Colin,
still
I got one.
Colin, go ahead.
It'll be a double happy buck because I'm ecstatic that I'm getting out for my first game of golf this afternoon. But the double whammy is the fact that I'm basking right now in this belief that I can actually play golf. So, you know, I'm going to enjoy the day prior to my game and the reality of the season hitting. So I'll pay double happy bucks for that.
Fair, and we'll take that. Absolutely. You know why they named it golf, right?
I think so, but please
the effort
let
is
me.
already taken. All right, who else do we have? Going once? Oh, Craig Mallon, I see you waving.
Yeah, I have a sad buck, John. So it's great that the weather is turning and it's sunny out and that. Unfortunately for me, it's seasonal allergy season, so my eyes will be bleeding for about the next 4 weeks. But
I feel your pain, brother. Yeah.
Coyote urine.
Okay. And
wait a minute. I got one fine for President Mark. He is one of the most sarcastic guys. He has that one-liner that sometimes I laugh my head off. So maybe I'll pay it for him just because he makes me laugh with his one-liners sometimes. So you're quick at the wit, my friend President Dixon. So I'll pay that extra 5. So I guess I'm up for 10 today. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Big
Thanks,
hug.
President Mark.
Coming from the man dressed like a bicycle delivery salesman. You look like a bike delivery guy. You got the strap and the earbuds and
Mr. Dixon. I thought he had a broken arm.
And last call, the very actual last call. Going once, going twice. President Mark, back to you.
Thank you so much. Nicely done, as always. So remember, everyone, we are incredibly active on social media. There is lots going on. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And we're posting the recordings of these meetings on our YouTube channel. And there's lots of engagement going on Slack. So welcome there. Yes, you're simply the best. So thank you to our guest speaker, Dale, this morning for that wild presentation. Brian for the inspirational moment, our Sergeants at Arms, John and Mark, and Natalia for her birthdays and anniversaries. To our guests, fellow Rotarians. And please remember, if you need support, do not hesitate to reach out for yourself or for somebody else. Keep an eye out. Lynn King is our caring coordinator, and she's doing a fabulous job. So leverage her. There are many online resources, but the question is, how can I help you? Please join me in the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Will it be fun? That's fun. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing Friday. Enjoy the weather. See you at the district convention tomorrow. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Have a good sunny weekend.
See y'all.
See y'all.
Take care, Anita.